Hey guys, we are on Unit 7, Lecture 4. Now we are talking about how history is, how we are living history right now. I've talked about this throughout the entire course of this whole school year, the whole academic year, how things that are happening right now are going to be in the history books. A big one that is for sure is COVID-19. This is going to be in the history books. Think about back when you were in middle school. When you were in middle school, I am so sure that you learn about the Black Death. Perhaps it was called the Black Plague. Maybe it was called the bubonic plague. It all depends on where you went to school, because we live in an international community. Different schools around the world call it different things. Bubonic plague, Black Death, all the same thing. I bet you studied and studied and studied and studied and studied this pandemic. Well, right now in 2021, we have a similar thing that is spreading all across the world. This horrible, horrible sickness that is killing people all around the world. And this sickness, COVID-19, this coronavirus, is going to be taught in the history books for centuries. It's going to be taught. This Black Death, this was in the year 1347, and we're still talking about it now in 2021. So right now in 2021, we've got COVID-19, and years from now, in the year 4021, people are still going to be talking about COVID-19. We are living in history right now. Okay, so that's what we're talking about. Okay, things that are affecting the world right now. You know how I'm always talking to you guys about the way that the world works really is, it's all about the rich versus the poor. The rich rule the world and the poor just struggle to survive. And when I'm talking about the rich, close your eyes for a second and imagine what you think of as a rich person. That's not really what I'm talking about when I say rich. Who I'm really talking about when I say rich, I'm talking about you and me, you and me. And if you're some random stranger that happens to be listening to my video on YouTube, you're not even my student at school, I'm talking about you. If you're rich enough to be listening, sitting in some comfy chair, listening to my video on YouTube, you're rich. I'm talking to you. You are rich. This is rich versus the poor. When I'm talking about the poor, I'm talking about the more than half of the world's population that lives on less than $2 a day. That is 860 Kazakh tenge a day. 860 tenge a day, less than. Can you guys imagine living on less than 860 tenge a day? that has to cover all your expenses. That has to cover your housing, your transportation. Now remember, in your transportation includes gas for your car, anything needed for your car, tires for your car, anything else needed for your car, insurance for the car, any kind of cleaning for the car. Let's see, housing, transportation, your food, any kind of drink that you like, entertainment, clothing, anything less than 860 tenge a day. Now, I'm going to guess that you couldn't do that. You probably spend more than that without even thinking about it. I mean, I know that for me, every morning, my breakfast, when I wake up in the morning, I eat a small cup of yogurt and a banana. That's my breakfast every morning. I eat a small cup of yogurt and I eat a banana. And my small cup of yogurt cost 800 tenge. And I don't know how much a banana cost, but whatever a banana cost. So there we go. That's my daily allotted amount of money that I just ate in breakfast. So I couldn't do it. And this is more than half the entire world's population lives on less money than that. So if you have more money than 860 tenge a day, you're rich. That's what I'm talking about when I say rich versus poor. If we're talking on a global scale, we're talking about all the people on the entire face of the planet. Then if you have more money than $2 US a day, you're rich. All right. So what are some of the problems that we've talked about that have faced humanity throughout all of this entire history book? Problems that have faced the world throughout this entire course of history. War, famine, general violence, disease, poverty, persecution, natural disasters, other random crises. Well, these things still happen today. Life is just a cycle. We've talked about this. I've told you this, that the best way to know how to move forward with life is to know history, because everything just happens in a circle. The same thing happens over and over and over and over and over and over and over again. We have war, and then war happens again. And then we have war, and then war happens again. And then we have poverty, and then poverty happens again. And then we have famine, and then famine happens again. And so these things, it's just a cycle. that goes on and on and on and on, and all these things, they just keep happening. So we have to learn how to deal with them. They're not going to go away. They're going to keep happening. So they don't stop. Let's talk about some other stuff. Something that is happening in the world right now is our deserts are getting bigger and our forests are getting smaller. This is a real problem. So I'm not your science teacher, but I have taught science. I enjoy teaching science. Don't really have time to give you a huge science lecture, but hopefully you know enough about science that you know that we need trees. Now, look at this map. Hopefully you guys all know that the brown part is desert. In my lifetime, the brown parts on the maps have gotten bigger. Just in my lifetime. The brown parts here in the United States are going further east. The brown parts in Africa, this brown part, the Sahara Desert, is going further south. The brown parts in Asia are going further north. This is scary. We're getting less greenery. This part down here, this greenery used to be really, really, really dark, dark, dark green. But now it's a lighter green because the trees are going away. So think for a second, why is that a problem? Why is it a problem that the trees are going away? Because we need trees. Why do we need trees? Because trees make something that we really, really need. What do the trees make? Trees make oxygen. We need oxygen to breathe. Oxygen is in our air. Without oxygen, we will die. That's it. There is no getting around that. If there are no trees, then there is no oxygen. And if there is no oxygen, we will die. Period. That's it. There's no getting around it. If there are no trees, there is no oxygen. And if there is no oxygen, we will die. That's it. So why are we cutting down the trees? Let me tell you why we're cutting down the trees. We're cutting down the trees because people want to build more factories so they can make more money, so they can get rich. Okay, I understand. People want to get rich. I get it. People want to have big fancy houses. So they cut down trees, so they build more neighborhoods, so they can have fancier houses. Heck, we go to school, we have this really nice campus. Well, once upon a time, there used to be trees here. And QSI came along and cut down all the trees that were here and built this campus, built AIS, the Almaty International School campus. And I'm glad they did it because I have a job and you all have a school to go to. I'm glad to be here, but it means all the trees are gone. And so like something has to happen. We just had 2 weeks ago at school, we had a big Earth Day celebration where we planted a bunch of trees. That's why we did that. So there has to be some kind of balance where the world, what we are doing right now, we are rapidly cutting down all these trees to build more factories and to build more houses to make people more money, but we're losing the trees, which is losing the oxygen, and nobody's really thinking about the future. Well, in the future, people aren't going to have oxygen to breathe, and people are going to die. Like, I don't really have to worry about it. I'm going to have enough oxygen to live. I'm going to be fine. I'm going to live a happy life and I'm going to have oxygen. So why should I really have to worry about it? I mean, you are probably going to be okay, but your kids, I don't really know about your kids. By the time your kids are grown-ups, yeah, the oxygen might be a problem by then. There might be some oxygen shortages by the time your kids are grown-ups if we don't stop this massive cutting down of all the trees thing. And this is something that is happening right now. History in the making. My generation has already blown it. This is your generation. Your generation has got to do something about this. And it will be written in the history books. Your generation has got to make a difference. Your generation and your kids have got to read in the history books about how their parents' generation made these changes to global environmental rules to save the planet. You've got to do that. Please do it for my grandchildren. Do it. Okay. So, weapons. Next. History in the making. Weapons. Weapons. Terrorism. Okay, so weapons are not new. Terrorism is not new. We've had terrorism forever. We've had weapons forever. Cavemen would hit each other with sticks and stones. Those are weapons. Terrorism, off the top of my head, Archduke Franz Ferdinand. That was terrorism. It's been around forever. The scary thing about weapons and terrorism now is we have nuclear weapons. And those are scary. So, I mean, hundreds of years ago, if a terrorist got a hold of a weapon, maybe the scariest thing a terrorist could do was, now, this is scary, of course, but the scariest thing a terrorist could do was maybe, I don't know, blow up the school building. That is scary, of course, but blow up a school building. Now, today, if a terrorist were to get a hold of a nuclear bomb, they could blow up Almaty. That's scary. Terrorism is frightening today. If a radicalized fundamentalist freaky, scary person got a hold of a nuclear weapon and really wanted to do some real terror, it's scary. And that could be something that would go down in the history books forever. And some other stuff that is like historical, the internet. So, all right. I imagine your parents have already regaled you with the when I was your age stories about the internet. But you get to listen to it from Mrs. Gibbons. So, when I was your age and I wanted to watch a movie, okay, let me show you a VCR. If I wanted to watch a movie, I had to watch, I was hoping to pull up some cool video. Well, let's just go back and we had these VCRs, and it was this machine. I had this tape that had a movie on it, and I put it inside a machine, and I hooked the machine to my television, and then I watched a movie on the television. And then if I wanted to listen to music, I had to put it on, I had a CD, a disc, there's a CD disc that I had music on a CD that I put in a CD player that played. I had a portable one like this. It was super cool because I had a portable CD player that my parents gave me for Christmas. And then I also had one like this that I had in my bedroom that would play music. And if I wanted information, like, I don't know, if I wanted to write a paper for school, I had to actually go to the library and look information up in books. Well, you guys, you have all of that in your phone or in a laptop. You can do it all. If I wanted to make a phone call, I had to go to a phone on a wall, which I don't even know why I have this phone here in the, can you see this? Yes, this phone here in the classroom. This is the only kind of phone there was. And it was on the wall in the kitchen of my bedroom. It was in the wall of the kitchen of my house. And my parents were always standing around. It's like my mom could always hear everything I was saying all the time. So, and my mom usually answered the phone. So like the phone rings and my mom would say, hello. And my friends would have to ask for me. And it was embarrassing. Can't get the camera fixed back now. Okay. So you guys have no idea what it was like to be a teenager in the 1990s. And now you have a cell phone. That was like science fiction in the 1990s. It was wild. It was completely unheard of that I would have this magical thing that I could just pick up and I could call the other side of the world, and text messaging, it was unheard of. Email, no way. And like all this stuff, it's so cool. So history in the making, it's all in the books, and we're living it right now. Like it all seems to you, you grew up with it, but this is all still new to me. And for you, it's all like, there's going to be new stuff for you when you're maybe in your 20s. There's going to be new stuff to you, things that don't even exist right now. When you're about 22, 23, are suddenly going to exist. And we have new things that didn't exist a while ago. We've got satellites. Satellites up in space that send communication. And we've got, for medicine, some pretty cool new inventions with medicine. We've got laser surgery. It used to be that surgery was always done with a knife or a scalpel. It's a small little knife, about this size. But now they can do lots of surgeries with laser, and it's makes it. I have to put my mask on. Someone just came in the room. Lasers, they can make the incision smaller and more precise, so it's safer. And one of my favorite topics is biotechnology. Biotechnology. No, that's not how you spell technology, but biotechnology. So biotech is actually altering the genetic makeup of a plant or animal to make it more beneficial to us. So let me give you an example. Let's say there's a farmer that grows, I don't know, there's a farmer that grows corn. And every year this farmer grows, I don't know, every year the farmer grows corn, and every year these grasshoppers, that's an insect, every year grasshoppers come and eat half his corn. And so he only gets to sell half his corn each year. So he goes to a scientist and he says, "Hey, scientist, can you make me a special kind of corn that the grasshoppers don't like?" And so this scientist says, yeah, I can do that. So the scientist makes the farmer a special kind of seed that looks the same, tastes the same, has all the same health, everything. Everything's the same. Same. Everything's the same. The only thing that's different is that whatever it is that the grasshopper likes about the corn is different. The grasshopper doesn't like the corn anymore. And so now, when the next year, when the farmer plants his corn, now he grows his corn and the grasshoppers come, but they go, ew, gross, I don't like that corn. And they fly away, and the farmer gets all his corn and he gets to sell it all. And so these genetically modified corn, the farmer gets all his corn off to the market and he gets to sell it all. So the scientist and the farmers work together to make a genetically superior corn to send to the market. That's one way that biotechnology has helped the farming industry with farming. There's also, let's say, going to the store. Think about, I don't know, apples. Let's say you are at the store and you've got your organic apples and you've got your let's say your non-organic apples. Okay, so these apples might have some brown spots on them. You know, think of just your typical local Kazakh apples that they don't exactly look perfect. They've got some spots on them and they still taste delicious, but they don't look perfect. But these apples, it's supposed to say organic, organic. But these apples, these non-organic apples, these look, oh my God, these are the apples that you look at them and they look like a piece of art. Your mouth waters just looking at them. They're perfect, shiny, delicious, red, absolutely perfect looking, delicious red apples. That's because scientists have altered their genetic makeup to perfectly have them designed to have them produced to come out exactly how the human eye finds them appealing. They are genetically modified to look exactly how we want them to look. They still taste just like the organic apples. They still have all the same vitamins and minerals as the organic apples. There's nothing different about them. They're still the same apple. Everything's the same. They just look prettier. That's the difference. They look prettier. And because they look prettier, people are more likely to buy them. And because people are more likely to buy them, that's why the farmers are willing to pay the scientist for the seeds. So that's what genetically modified means, is that a scientist came up with a way to modify the actual genetics, the actual genetic code of that thing to make it appear different. So that's things. Scientists can also do it with living beings. I'm going to give an example. They can do it with animals. They can do it with human beings. I'm going to give an ethical quandary for you. So they can do it to they can do it to, I don't know, they can make an animal have stripes. They can make an animal that should have spots. They can make it have stripes. They can make an animal that should have blue eyes. They can make it have brown eyes. They can grow human ears on mice. They can do all kinds of things. Let me show you that. I can show you that. Look at that. There's an ear on the back of a mouse on part of for research. Pretty cool, huh? So let's go back. Let's talk about ethics, because this is the last part. So bioethics. Okay, so this is a true story, a tiny little part of a true story. So my mom and my brother both have genetic diabetes. Diabetes is a disease. So what that means is they have a disease that hit them when they were young children. And scientists now know the exact genes that cause diabetes. So what if scientists could go in to a baby, if the mother were pregnant, if the mom is still pregnant, let's draw a lady. Here's a pregnant lady. And here's the baby. The baby's in here. If the doctors could go in and test the baby while the baby were inside the womb and find out if the baby had this genetic marker to say that it was going to get diabetes. And then, and the gene said yes. And then the scientist could alter the genes. Do you think they should? Do you think they should do that? Should the scientist actually change this baby inside the mother's womb? Yes or no? That's up to you. That's your choice. That's bioethics. Now, depending on that question, there are further choices. What about other choices? Do you think the parents should be able to choose other things? How about what color they want their child's eyes to be? Because scientists can do that. Do you think parents should be able to say, I want my baby to have blue eyes? Do you think they should be able to do that? What about, do you think they should be able to choose what color their baby's hair is? Do you think they should be able to choose how short or how tall their child is when they're full grown? Because we can do all that. We can do all of that with biotechnology. This is all history being made right now through science. And I'm telling you all this because it's a big booming field in education right now. And bioethics, this is something that you could study in university. You can get your PhD in bioethics. One of you that's listening to my voice right now, you could get your PhD in bioethics. And you could say, Mrs. Givens inspired me to become a bioethicist. And then you could write a book and you could write in it, you could say, thank you, Mrs. Givens, for inspiring me. Okay, that's it. You're going to have a test on this in your next class. Bye, guys.